ruin has come to our family. You remember our venerable house? Opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal of antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth. But we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
Good evening. My name is Brightops, and welcome to the Darkest Dungeon. This will be my third ongoing series from here on out, and as I'm sure many of you who have been following my channel might be surprised to discover, this one isn't related to the Warhammer universe in any way. Instead, we will be taking a turn towards the Lovecraftian. For those of you who are not familiar with Howard Phillips Lovecraft, more commonly known as H.P. Lovecraft, he was a horror writer from the early 20th century who is credited with being the father of cosmic horror. Rather than gore and shock value, cosmic horror is built upon the idea that reality as we know it is something of a human daydream. That the universe is so alien and abstract that to even try to comprehend its harsh, bleak truths would require sacrificing one's sanity, or at least what human society deemed to be sane. This is a game about trying to make the best of a bad situation. People will die, go insane, and sometimes the dark powers that be will simply win the battle. But in the war against inhuman evil, the fighting must continue or life as we know it will cease to be. So let's get started then. As you can see, I intend to be playing with all the DLCs, though the two major ones are the Crimson Court and the Color of Madness. The rest are more additional heroes. Let's see. Start the campaign. We will also be starting on the most difficult setting because, well, I'm a glutton for punishment. And as for the name of the estate, which will be our headquarters against the forces of inhuman evil, well, I'm inspired by an old friend of mine who is a fan of Lovecraft, and actually created a town with the theme during an RP that we once were a part of. So the estate, we shall be holding our headquarters in the Dewpoint Isle Estate. Let us begin, shall we?
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling, serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors. So steel yourself, and remember there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
Wonderful start, isn't it? Just waiting for the loading screen to finish up, and we will get started on the prologue. Now, it should be noted that one of the few consistencies with Darkest Dungeon is when you start, you will always have the same two heroes. They'll always be the same class, have the same name, and have the same abilities, and have the same strengths and weaknesses, which I will show off in a second once we can actually get into it. Almost there. There we go. Ah yes, we have Renald, the Crusader, and Dismas, the Highwayman. Now, let's see, how do we pop up? Ah, here we go. As we can see, we've got Renald the Crusader. He is a warrior of light, so he gets plus 10% damage if the torchlight here is above 75%. He is God-fearing, so once we actually get to town, he will only be able to pray to relieve his stress. And he is a kleptomaniac, so he is prone to stealing items randomly during quests, which can be annoying. And Dismas, he is a known cheat, so once he gets to town, he will not be allowed to gamble. I will explain more about stress and how to deal with it a bit later on. He is a hard noggin, which means he is resistant to stun, and he has quick reflexes, so he's pretty damn quick. So when it comes time to actual battle, he will probably be a little bit faster.
Brigands have run up these lanes. Keep to the side path. The hamlet is just ahead.
And we have reached our first combat
in brutal fashion, that all may hear of your arrival.
Okay, well, abilities can depend. Abilities tend to be very important on positioning. Depending on where you are in the party, you will not be able to use certain abilities. However, because these two are more or less designed to be in the positions they are, that is not so much of a problem this time around.
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
If you're wondering about the little debuff that we gave the enemy, Dismas has the ability of, using his little knife, he can cause bleed effects. So, bleed basically just is quite literally what it sounds like. If at the start of the character's turn, any debuffs they have will kick in, and with bleed, it is just taking various amounts of damage. In this case, he took, well, lethal. Hello, this is new. I've never seen this one before. Must be because of the difficulty. Let's find out. Uh-oh. Well...
Self-preservation is paramount, at any cost.
Well, stress got involved in this a lot quicker than I thought they would. The way that stress works in this game is each character can have up to 200 stress. When they reach... Stress happens for like when weird, creepy things happen, or if they get hit in combat. Or the enemy uses certain abilities that can stress people out. When you reach 100, you'll get a testing a resolve. This can be both negative or positive. In this case, it came up negative. Reynald has now become selfish. This can be problematic. Of course, if he gains another 100 stress, he will have a heart attack and die. However, let's try and stop that from happening.
An ambush. Send these vermin a message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
Let's see, we'll start with a... Let's see, we've just been given a debuff that we can't that we have a harder time dodging attacks. And the little ability I used with Desmus just gave him quite a bit of a buff to his abilities. Now let's see if we can stun this big fellow so that he doesn't actually attack us. No, he managed to resist it.
Such a terrible assault cannot be left unanswered.
Ooh, not a good start. Not a good start at all. Admittedly, the Crusader tends to do better when it comes to effectively dealing with unholy enemies, not just natural humans, but we'll explore that a bit later on.
Injury and despondence set the stage for heroism or cowardice.
Oh yes, abilities like Bleed
Reeling,
also stack
about to break.
and last a certain amount of turns, which can be useful. Ah yes.
The slow death, unforeseen, unforgiving.
Abilities can also depend on where the enemy is standing too.
Perched at the very precipice of oblivion.
Whew, we just got rather lucky there. See, when a hero loses all their health, they don't immediately die. They enter a state called Death's Door, which, in most cases, is a rather bad thing. It has a bit of a debuff, but what this means is they won't immediately die. They can also be healed up from this state, and if an enemy hits them, there is a chance that they will die. It's not a guaranteed thing, but there is a chance.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy
Thankfully,
them all.
see, we'll just continue adventuring. We've completed our quest. Let's see, Bandit's trapped chest. Let us ignore this one for now. Let us just complete the quest and be done with it before anything more goes wrong. Okay. And Reynald has also gained an intense craving for alcohol, and that will stick with him. So he's an alcoholic kleptomaniac. Gotta love that in a paladin. Right. Oh yes, unlike flesh and blood injuries, stress tends to carry over outside of the quest, which is something of a problem, as I'll show in a minute. But we're about to actually see.
Welcome home, such as it is. This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, They are yours now, and you are bound to them.
Alright. Well, we're about to get our first look at the Dewpoint Isle estate, and look at what a rundown shithole it is. Well, we've got a lot of work needed to actually fix this place up. And part of the problem we've got is the various buildings you need that actually deals with stress, that allows a hero to deal with stress, are currently unavailable to us. So Reynold will be going into the next mission out of something of a disadvantage, because afflictions and stress carry over. But let's see what's available to us at the moment before we carry on.
Most will end up here, covered in the poisoned earth, awaiting merciful oblivion.
Well, here's the graveyard. It's when characters die, we will be able to see them here and how they died. You'll also see the little death meter in this corner here. That is because of the difficulty we've gone with. If we had gone normally, we could have as many deaths as we want. However, if we reach 16 deaths in this difficulty, the game will end. As I said, this is rather challenging. See, that's the graveyard. Next is the Ancestors' Memoirs.
In time, you will know the tragic extent of my failings.
This is more just where little dialogues and information and little cutscenes will be stored so you can watch them later on. And we also have the Nomad Wagon.
Trinkets and charms, gathered from all the forgotten corners of the earth.
This is where you can purchase items. We will not be doing that in the near future because we don't have the money for it. And last but not least, the Stagecoach.
Women and men, soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
The Stagecoach. This will be where we will be recruiting fresh heroes to help us in our war against darkness. We will also briefly use some of the items we collected during our first mission to upgrade it, because having some new...
Word is traveling. Ambition is stirring in distant cities. We can use this.
You gather items such as this to upgrade the various buildings as they come around. That gives various bonuses, such as the Stagecoach network, which will... because we get new recruits every in-game week, and basically the network just means that we will have more recruits to hire. In this case, next week we will have 4 instead of just 2. We will also have a larger amount of heroes we can actually recruit, which will become important later on. But let's have from this point onwards, we will be naming characters, customizing them after viewers and subscribers. These two I'm going to leave as is, if only because I can keep better track of them. There is actually an achievement if you can take Reynold and Dismas to the end of the game alive. Granted, I don't have high hopes for this, but hope springs eternal. But let's have a look at our first new recruits. Let's see, we have Gothic, which means that they get healed very easily. And they are a bad gambler, so we do not want them gambling to relieve stress. From their abilities, we can see that they have they have Battlefield Medicine, which can cure Blight and Bleed, which are 2 pretty bad debuffs. We also have Blinding Gas, which is a stun ability, and can be used to stun enemies that we come across. We also have the various plague grenades, which causes blight debuffs, which is where the plague doctor is really useful. We also have the Vestal, who has come across as steady, so they gain less stress. They are musical, which doesn't really come into account now, but if later on we come across a jester, inspiring tune is a good way of relieving stress. We also have claustrophobic, which severe fear of enclosed spaces, which may come up during actual missions. The Vestal is something of a priestess, and the ability she's got, she has some hit. She can just solely whack the enemy. She also has, much like the paladin, holy magic to call upon to stun and heal, which is one of her main roles, is healing. Okay, we will recruit those now.
What better laboratory than the blood-soaked battlefield?
We will just recruit these two now, just to have a full party.
A sister of battle, pious and unrelenting.
And I think we will leave it here for now. Next time I'll give these two proper names, give them customization. If you're a subscriber, please just leave a note in the comments or contact me directly and I'll happily rename them after you if you want these two to be claimed as yourselves. But anyway, until next time, my name is Brightops, and I look forward to hearing from you.